All right, there we go. I can make it work. So, we're actually seeing, I mean, this is now happening far faster than I ever really thought it might. Macy's is having mass closures. I mean, this is one of these that, oh no. Oh, a business that I go to a lot. Apparently somebody tried to break in. And that's a shame. Really smashed some of it up, it looks like. Hope they're alright. Should look in on them. I should check in on those kids, see if they're okay. That's what's starting to happen to me. I'm just doing all these like inadvertent old manish like kind of things and feeling all kinds of new forms of pain. Body not doing what I want, not healing. Super awesome. Nope, can't walk on that. Nope, because get the shoes all wet. No, none of that. Not wearing shoes I could get wet. No, but, so there was two things in particular that I was like, that I was really surprised by how fast it happened. One, the collapse of creative industries and their various companies, and then Macy's and the collapse of the retail, like retail shopping kind of thing. Somebody like me who's at the bottom of the economy, this is like really a big deal. This is like and then also just from my generation, that this idea that Macy's would simply cease to exist in a physical form. I mean, the whole idea, if I remember correctly, Macy's is one of the true sources of the idea of Black Friday, where they go back into the black, that they were basically in debt as people selling items. You know, that they buy it on debt. You know, that everything's on debt until the huge sale, and then they make their money back. If they sold the items at the proper proper pricing for profitability. So just to see that happen so quickly. But the big one really is the collapse of the creative industries. That the big one being the writers. And so already it's very interesting that they're already, somebody wrote some article about how, like, conservatives love that all these news sites are going under because they hate news or something really weird like this. And so I wanted to really get into this idea of, but the part of the right, because of how the left has treated just anyone who disagrees with them, anyone at all. What now the big deal is that people will start websites and get jobs because a bunch of people are like, why are you being treated like this? And they're like, I'm reporting on this. This really happened. They look and they're like, this is really good reporting. You know, wow. You know, these people who are left of center are kind of unhinged. Like, why are they doing this to you? It's no, really. I've just been reporting on fundamentally crime. When they commit it, they don't like you. You know, like, you're not supposed to report on their criminality. They fundamentally believe they are above actually, like, being accountable for their actions. They really believe it. They are those personalities, and it's gone to the point that they, like, are true believers in their own unaccountability. By the way, like with somebody like Andy No, what he's reported on with Antifa, this is now hundreds of people who've gone in now for much more heinous crimes. So they rioted and ruined and burned and arsoned, only to often go to federal prison, often for everything from like fraud, money laundering, The big one with Antifa is messing with young people. That's what they go up for now. When you look them up, and you can't find anything like, if you were to look up a gang and try to be a researcher on a gang and them going to jail, you could find it. Antifa, no, you got to look them up individually, and you find out they fuck kids, and they deal meth, and they're just badass people, like just bad, low-minded people, and that the Northwest gets what it deserves because they let these people rule their cities for a while. And so now Macy's is going under, the local paper. It's like, oh my gosh, Macy's, it was a major anchor. One of the last things that was a major anchor of one of the local malls. Which, I mean, and this is a huge footprint that it's sitting on as well. Hopefully there's going to be sort of almost independent type of companies. Oregon actually does still have this, where it has like decent white people, have like companies that are in a family. They're based around, like, they'll close on Sunday and stuff like that. They still have those kind of people here. But it's also, of course, like, it has to be the right price. How much are they going to start charging for, this space that nobody's sure what the market's going to be? Is it going to be for tires? Is it going to be for plants? I mean, this is now this very unsure time in American economics, because you have, like, people need certain things. Okay, we have quite a number of ways that people get delivered things, but it really is like anything like a mall. What do you make it? You make it into housing at what level of profitability? Because it probably won't be profitable to do it. To convert them all into housing probably won't be profitable. You put in all this effort and all this investment, and it won't be profitable. And so it's a lot of places in America have screwed themselves, and I kind of didn't think it would happen so fast. I really actually thought the baby boomers were going to kind of preserve the liberal enclave fantasy for a bit longer. But with the announcement from Macy's, and then the announcement from McDonald's, and then this weird thing I'm hearing about Wendy's, that I gotta look this up, because this is one of these things where I'm like, I saw the information about it, and I'm like, this is a really weird title. Like, when I'm looking at the title and I'm looking at the underbar, I don't get this. I think there's something I don't get about a term being used. Surge, I don't think I understand something. So, I'll learn inevitably. But California's now establishing different levels of minimum wage. They're ruined. California's ruined. There's no going back. They're dead. Once they have to start dealing with all the flooding, the flood damage, and how much money that's going to cost. And then, especially when it becomes like, they had the water, but it all went out into the ocean, because they never set their reservoir system up to store all the water. And there's just no way around. Gavin Newsom is going nowhere because of that. It's always going to be this crushing thing of, and then the beauty is that opens up, so the whole climate thing was, these people weren't really experts. They didn't really know what they were talking about. Because that's the issue, is what he did. He based around what the experts said was definitely going to be what happens. One of the things about the creative fields failing, and I remember thinking about this, is the very idea, the sexual revolution is why the creative fields have have failed. Because a woman is no longer beautiful and the image of beauty. Aphrodite is no longer beautiful in her ever not verdant, ever spring youth. And so therefore, because the young beautiful woman can no longer be beauty and beautiful and be viewed as an indication of the sacred. It's that there's something miraculous. How can it? Because that's the thing, is when men are bedazzled by women's beauty. It's as if it's magic. It's beyond rational, the feeling. So this is why we associate it with something beyond just normal. Beauty is something beyond normal. It's an indication of some kind of pattern. And don't worry, everyone forever has noticed the pattern of that which makes a woman beautiful. But then there's there's women who, they don't quite fit into the standard model, but there's this or that about them. And so once there's nothing sacred about that beauty in capital B being represented in a woman, so that when a man's courting her, he's at his finest, because she is the exemplar of this divine ideal, the divine order of things. And so he must be the challenging male hero character, and find that in himself. It's like an anime. It's like a well-written anime. It's like a well-written story that we've heard over and over and over again. If there's no beauty, then mothers can't be sacred. Like Briffault wrote The Mothers. That's always been the symbol of ultimate power. They are the mothers. They're a group. They've given birth that's one of the hardest things that actually is very to do. And they make decisions and pass those down as if they are magical decrees throughout society, and that we're wired this way. We're pre-programmed that mothers will form groups, and they will have overwhelming power over the way that society behaves. And just what clan of mothers will rule. And then, so with this whole idea of like kind of upsetting the apple cart of the pattern of things that comes out of, the modernists and the modernist movement and now we're steeped in it. Eventually, because beauty is no longer beauty, beauty is no longer allowed to be associated with the female. Mothers, therefore, are not sacred. And then the old women become a burden. It becomes a dark world that everyone's looking out for what piece of food they can get, what morsels they can get. There's no more sharing. There's nothing soft in such a world. That's what the modernists, and their nightmare movies and nightmare TV shows and their love of zombies, it's what they want. Some part of them maybe it's the idea that if they name the evil, they could control it, something like that, some old kind of thing, because, there's nothing really that new. But, solidly, I really have thought about that there's no way women can be sacred if beauty is not beautiful, and if it's not associated with fundamentally the young women any man wants to court in his youth. And from there, it just gets worse and spirals into worse and worse and worse. Until eventually, The only thing that matters is the horror of something like OnlyFans and the vainglory of TikTok and such like, that it will never matter what she says to her grandchildren. No, nobody ever. Notice that you're not seeing a lot of that. You're not seeing viral TikToks of "my grandma's so wise." Why are we not seeing this? All right. Well, I gotta go. Peace.